What's up? Today's video, we're going to be going over the top 5 2024 champions. It's crazy we are this far. We only have 2 more videos left in the series. This series has been an absolute blast to make. Hope you guys really did enjoy the series because I know I did personally. And yeah, I will hopefully be making a video at the end of this series going over every single year individually, like in a big tier list, kind of like how I did with the best champions. Because you guys really like that video. That video is almost at 6,000 views, which is insane. So I plan to do something like that. But yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So this list has a lot of great champions, and my top 5 is a little wonky. I will say this top 5 is probably the most personal opinion-based top 5 I've ever made. There are a lot of great champions in this year that can go in the top 5. There's also a lot of stinkers from this year, though. That being said, the race for the 5 and 4 spot is very close with a lot of other champions in this list. I will say 5 and 4 is just as close to being 5 and 4 as like the 8th and 9th spot. I will say there's a middle of the road pack right there where they're all great champions and they're just so close. But I'm basing this off of my personal opinion. I do believe the top 3 are kind of on an island by themselves. They are the definitive top 3. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop right in. So with the honorable mentions today, I want to start off with one of the newest Ascendable champions, and it's actually Dust. So, Dust is a champion that I've not been very critical on. I've not said a lot about. I've not really had any experience playing Dust. I got her Ascended 2 in this new event, took her up to rank 4. She's nuts. She's very great on attack. She's not the greatest attacker in the game, but she is very solid on attack. You are guaranteed great damage. If you hit those crits, they feel very rewarding. And her playstyle is just very fun to play. Something about applying sand debuffs and then purifying them to become passives is just very satisfying to do. Also, she has great immunities. She has bleed, poison, and shock immunities. One of the few champions in the game that have triple immunities, so that is very great. She also doesn't make contact with the opponent, so she's kind of on the lights. Some of her attacks don't make contact with the opponent. So that being said, she can counter Thorns damage very well, and she's an amazing defender, especially at this level right now. I use her on defense. I played a couple BG's match, and I put her on defense twice. I've won both those times. She's a kind of a stall defender. She isn't the hardest to fight once you learn how to fight Dust, kind of like a lot of other champions in the game. That being said, she can stall out a fight very long, and you're gonna take damage just because if you play the fight very wrong, or you play it semi-wrong, you're gonna take a lot of damage. So Dust, very great first honorable mention. Next up, I wanted to go ahead and honorably mention a Deathless champion, and that is She-Hulk. She-Hulk is the best Deathless champion by far, besides Thanos. Of course, Thanos is the ultimate best, but of the 4 like minions, she is by far the best. She's like way out of the other champions leagues in my opinion. I believe she is a very solid champion. She could have had her own release in a month and I would have been perfectly fine with it. I love Deathless She-Hulk. As you guys know, I took her to rank 4 a long time ago. I use her in almost any content I can. She is just very great. She does have some flaws in her kit, which is when you fight a skill, she's basically useless no matter what skill you're fighting, which is to be like kind of known for She-Hulk. Also, she's not a defender at all whatsoever. She actually helps you a lot when you fight her on defense because she applies those traumas that you willpower from. But besides that, she is very great, and she also has great synergies with the Deathless team. So yeah, She-Hulk, very great. I absolutely love She-Hulk. And the final honorable mention is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and it is actually Bullseye. So unfortunately, Bullseye has fallen out of the meta a lot. He is very consistent on attack. I will say he is one of the most consistent attackers in the game because you're guaranteed that same damage every single time with the guaranteed crits. That is very good. So you know what you're getting out of a fight. If you play it the same every time, you're going to get basically the same damage every time, assuming you don't have class advantage or anything like that. He is very fun to play. Just throwing cards is just very fun, and it's also a very simple play style, but he wasn't meant to be an attacker. He was meant to be a defender, and he was one of the best defenders at a time. Nowadays, every character I feel like they release in the mutant class just kind of has some part in their kit to counter evade, and there's a lot of other champions in other classes that do nowadays. So he's not as potent as he once was. I still use him in BGs. I still get some wins with him. I use him on attack quite often. But yeah, Bullseye, I wanted to give an honorable mention. Sucks that he's not in the meta as much anymore, but I still love Bullseye, and he's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. Now, There are a couple other champions I really want to talk about in the honorable mentions, but obviously just 3 per. And like I say in every video, those aren't the 6, 7, 8 spot. They are just kind of champions I would like to personally talk about. But that being said, let's get into the top 5. So, 5 and 4 are very, very close. I believe 5 and 4 can interchange, but in my personal opinion, I believe they are just neck and neck. That being said, coming in the number 5 spot, it's actually a champion that I need to start playing more, and it is actually Shathra. So Shathra, if you don't know, one of the best Maestro counters in the game. She's basically just a cosmic class, just absolute Chad. She's also very, very good for Yelena and other tough defenders in the game. She's just a very, very solid attacker. She doesn't really have much on defense besides her animations are kind of weird to deck, so if you're not used to it, you can get caught up in them. But besides that, she is very, very solid on attack. Just an amazing Mystic attacker. She gives you everything you would want out of a Mystic class champion. She has Power Steal. She has kind of like Nullify or Atrophy. Just kind of like that type of Mystic playstyle. She doesn't like apply Nullifies on the opponent, and she like kind of... She's not like a normal Mystic in that sense. She's more of like a Power Steal. But that being said, her damage is very, very great, and it is very fun. Her playstyle is a very, very fun playstyle. You launch an SP1 or 2, then you just hold heavy, consume all your bugs, and you launch an SP2. That's the playstyle. She's a great counter for Serpent, great counter for Maestro, great counter for basically any Cosmic in the game, and she also counters a lot of other meta defenders from other classes. So that being said, I believe Shathra is a really, really great champion. She's also one of the highest for prestige. That's just another plus. She really only lacks defensive prowess, and that being said, she still can catch you on defense if you're not ready to fight her because she's not a potent defender. So not very many people are used to her specials. But yeah, I believe Shathra warrants the number 5 spot. Now, next up is probably one of my personal favorite tech champions. Very, very close to going to rank 5. You all know him. You all love him. I know I love him. And that is Jack-O-Lantern. So, Jack-O-Lantern probably isn't better than other techs in this here. I don't care. I love Jack. I love Jack so very much. People just look at him as a mutant class killer. And that he is. He is one of the best champions to just kill anybody in the mutant class, basically. But, that being said, he can also do a lot of non-class advantage matchups, too. Perfectly fine. As long as he can apply the Incinerates and the poisons, he's fine. Not Incinerates. His special 2 applies, Incinerates, sorry. They have plasmas for, mutants. I was thinking about that. But as long as he can apply that damage, he's perfectly fine in my opinion. I love his playstyle of when you crit, you just apply an instant, damage. It is very, very fun, to play with him. His scythes are so fun to hit the opponent with. I just personally love Jack so much. He is one of my favorite characters in the game. He will be going to rank 5 as soon as he can. But yeah, I love Jack. I do realize he's not the greatest character in the game, and a lot of people don't really care for him. I'm not one of them. I'm a big Jack defender. I use him as much as I physically can. Anytime I'm fighting a mutant in Battlegrounds, Jack's my go-to. He's also immune to reverse controls, which is very, very cool. Very, very great utility to have for a lot of the common day mutants and Onslaught and Jean Grey and all that. But yeah, Jack-O-Lantern, number 4 spot. He might not be better than other mutant or techs. I don't care. I love Jack. He does lack defense, so lacks a lot of defense, but has a bunch of utility and just damage. He's a nuke. We love Jack around here. But yeah, that being said, the jump from number 4 to number 3 is a big, big jump. Coming in the number 3 spot, is my first science rank 5, and that is actually Count Nefaria. So, Count Nefaria is kind of the opposite of Jack, where he's kind of annoying on defense, nothing crazy, has so much utility. Some of the most utility in the game. He literally just he can get power gain, he can get regen, he steals your regen, steals your power gain for himself with Sig ability, is immune to Incinerate, is immune to Shock, and he's not even immune to those. He just has resistances, so you can willpower heal. That is better than being immune, in my opinion. He's also degen resistant when you have your energy build up, your ionic overcharge up, and it's very, very easy to access it. All you got to do is apply 10 debuffs, suck them in. Actually, I think it's less than 10. It's like 5. But that being said, it's just such an easy kit. And you can take him into most matchups. He's just very slow and non-regen and power gain matchups, but he's very, very safe with the fact that he can regen very much. He gets good power gain. And his special 2 applies a Fury based on your ionic charges And that's just very, very great utility to have because that just means you ramp up very, very easy. Also, if you're very good at parrying the last hit of specials and you can counter, he applies a massive energy vulnerability. If you have two of those up, you're doing like triple, quadruple damage, it feels like. You absolutely nuke down opponents with that. So yeah, I personally believe he has the most utility in the game, or some of the most. He does kind of lack on damage if you're not a great special parry master guy or if you're not ramping him up correctly, but still, even at that, he does have solid damage if you can well. So yeah, I love Count Nefaria. I believe this is a big jump from the 4th spot. But yeah, Count Nefaria, an amazing champion. Absolutely love him. Now, number 2 and number 1 are a little bit more of a jump up. Nothing crazy, but number 2, somebody I kind of hate on a little bit just because I don't like fighting him, but it is Serpent. Serpent just... He just got everything in his kit. They just kind of butt-loaded this guy up with just a butt-ton of just stuff. He's just got stuff. He's got Cold Snap immunity. He's got resistance to bleeds. He's got just a bunch of resistances. He's got great power gain. He's got an inexorable, which means you basically are locked in where you're at in the map. You can't go backwards when you get hit. So annoying to deal with. And he has all this on defense too. One of the toughest defenders still to this day, because if you can have a perfect counter to him and the fight can still go wrong just because his kit is so very weird and his AI can get very, very weird. And on top of being the best defender in the game, arguably, he has great utility like I've mentioned. He's also one of the best attackers in the game for a lot of quests. He's not a nuke per se. You do have to ramp him up, but he is very, very safe. Kind of like Count Nefaria. You can take him up into any matchup, long form, short form, medium form, and he's going to end the fight with very good health as long as you play him correctly. And he's just made for every matchup. He can do any matchup you ask him to. He's one of the best villain tag champions in the game for Villain Karina's challenges. Yeah, Serpent is just one of the most potent champions in the game. Everybody has them. Everybody ranks them up. I kind of boycott taking him up to rank 4 just because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be part of this Serpent hype because I hate fighting him on defense. But yeah, Serpent, one of the best characters in the game, probably a top 5 character. They just gave him too much. In this same year, or in this same month, they brought out Destroyer. And Destroyer, I feel like, kind of lacks in some of his parts. So I don't know what they did with Serpent, but they just buffed him up too much. And when the rebalance program went over Serpent, they said, he's perfectly fine. He's not overpowered at all. This is how we intended him to be. A very tough defender. But Spider-Woman can't have ability accuracy reduction. Very, very weird choices by Kabam during that time, but it has been the past. Now we know. Serpent's just going to be like this forever. I don't think there's going to be a time where Serpent's not going to be meta. I think Serpent's just going to be meta literally forever. But yeah, Serpent is number 2. Now, number 1, you all knew it was going to be this guy. He's just the GOAT. He's the second best champion in the game. Arguably the first for a lot of people. It's Deathless Thanos. And how could he not be the best champion in the game? He was the Deathless Chase champion. I actually got him pretty late in his life cycle. I did not get the first 2 Deathless champions. I was kind of slacking. So yeah, that being said though, Deathless Thanos has literally everything you could want out of a kit. Has solid utility. Has an annoying defensive kit to where he's not hard to fight necessarily on defense. You got to kind of play smart. He just has protections to just stall out the fight. He also has those on offense. But also, he's one of the best offensive attackers in the game because he can do any form of content. Literally any form. Short form, he can nuke it down. Medium form, he can still nuke it down. Long form, he can do perfectly fine. He is meant for any form of content in the game. He can take basically any matchup as long as they can't nullify his buffs because his damage is kind of lacking. But yeah, Deathless Thanos, this is a character I am perfectly fine with being the most OP champion in the game because it was a reward for grinding all the Deathless champions. That's why I want Cosmic Stellar Doom to be absolutely goated like Thanos. But yeah, Thanos, easily first or second best character in the game. You all knew it was going to be this guy. Yeah, he's just got everything in his kit. He's just the GOAT. But yeah, if you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, do all that. 2025 will hopefully be out soon, and then we are done with this series. It's been really, really fun to make. Question of the day: who is your favorite MCU character in the game? Let me know down in the comments. Do all that. Yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.